Hey, it's Aaron. Today I have a question from Marty. Marty wants to know, where in the U.S. are cars actually made? This is a good question because most of the time when we think of auto manufacturer in the U.S., we think of Detroit. So we think Michigan. And there are a lot of automotive plants in Michigan, especially in that Detroit area. But there's a lot of plants all over the place. So let me run through a list. This isn't totally comprehensive. I'm skipping some that are in the same town or that are part of the same complex. But for the most part, this is a pretty thorough list of major automotive manufacturer in the US that is done by an automotive company. So we're not talking about like OEM stuff, so parts and other things that go towards them. Those are there's even more of those, like a lot more. So sort of in alphabetical order by plant name is what we're going to do. So in Arlington, Texas, there is the Arlington Assembly Plant, which is owned by General Motors and makes a lot of SUVs and trucks for them for the Cadillac and GMC and Chevrolet brands. Then there's the Bowling Green Assembly Plant in Bowling Green, Kentucky. That is famously where the Chevrolet Corvette is made. Then you have the Detroit Hamtramck Assembly, which is the GMC plant in Detroit, Michigan. It's a pretty storied plant. Has a pretty long history. Currently, it makes the GMC Hummer. Then you have the Fairfax Assembly, which is in Kansas City, Kansas, where Chevy makes the Bolt electric vehicle. Then you have the Flint Truck Assembly and the Fort Wayne Assembly. So the Flint is in Flint, Michigan. The Fort Wayne is in Roanoke, Indiana. Those make GMC trucks, so Chevy and GMC trucks. Then you have the Lansing Delta Township Assembly in Lansing, Michigan, and there's the Lansing Grand River as well, both in the same town. Those are General Motors smaller SUVs, so Buick Enclave, Chevy Traverse, Cadillac CT4, stuff like that. Then you have the Orion Assembly, which is in Lake Orion, Michigan. It is coming online this year, actually, 2025. Spring Hill Manufacturing is in Spring Hill, Tennessee. That makes Cadillac SUVs. Then the Wentzville Assembly in Wentzville, Missouri, and that makes mostly vans and some smaller mid-sized pickup trucks. So for the most part, commercial vehicles from that one. Chevrolet Express, Colorado, GMC Canyon, stuff like that. Then we get to Ford. Ford has a handful of plants in and around Michigan and other places. The Flat Rock Assembly Plant is in Flat Rock, Michigan, makes the Mustang. Chicago Assembly Plant in Chicago makes the Ford Explorer and Aviator for Lincoln. Dearborn Truck makes the F-150. That's in Dearborn, Michigan. Then Kansas City Assembly, which is in Clay Como, Missouri. I don't know why it's... Anyway, makes the F-150 and the Ford Transit van. The Kentucky Truck Plant makes a bunch of large SUVs for Ford and Lincoln, as well as Super Duty pickup trucks. That's in Louisville, Kentucky. Then you have the Louisville Assembly Plant, which makes smaller vehicles like the Ford Escape and the Lincoln Corsair. Then you have the Michigan Assembly Plant in Wayne, Michigan, makes the Ford Ranger and the Bronco, which are based on the same chassis. Then you have the Ohio Assembly Plant in Avon Lake, Ohio, makes very heavy-duty Fords, the F650 and some Super Duty chassis cabs. Then Stellantis, which is, well, it's Jeep, Chrysler, Ram truck, etc., etc. Jefferson North Assembly in Detroit, Michigan makes the Jeep Grand Cherokee and Dodge Durango. Sterling Heights in Sterling Heights, Michigan, that assembly plant makes the Ram 1500 pickup. The Toledo Complex in Toledo, Ohio makes the Jeep Wrangler and the Jeep Gladiator. Then you have the Warren Truck Assembly, which is probably their most well-known facility, which is in Warren, Michigan, makes a Ram 1500, the Jeep Wagoneer, and the Jeep Grand Wagoneer. Detroit Assembly Complex, which used to be, it's called Mack, used to be for Mack trucks, I believe. Anyway, this is in Detroit. Jeep Grand Cherokee's made there. And then the Belvidere Assembly Plant is being redone now. It's in Belvidere, Illinois. It's an older plant. It's being redone for a future Ram product. Most of us believe that it is going to be the REV, the Range Extended Electric Ram truck, and possibly the new small truck that Ram has yet to announce, but everybody knows is coming. Tesla has 3 factories right now. The Tesla factory in Fremont, California, the Gigafactory in Austin, Texas, and the Gigafactory in Sparks, Nevada. So in California and Texas, they are making most of their models. The Model S, Model 3, Model X, Model Y. The Cybertruck is made only in Texas. And then the Sparks, Nevada is dedicated to the Tesla Semi as well as batteries. Then Rivian has a factory in Normal, Illinois, which makes all of their products, current products, which are the R1T, R1S, R2, and EDV. They have another one coming to Georgia, and that one's to be announced, but it will make their next generation product. Let's see, Toyota. Toyota has a bunch of manufacturing in the U.S., kind of spread around. So they're mostly just named after the state they're in. So Georgetown, Kentucky, the Kentucky plant makes the Camry, the Toyota Camry, and the RAV4 hybrid, as well as a Lexus product. Then the Indiana one makes the Sienna minivan, the Highlander, Grand Highlander, and Lexus TX. Then the San Antonio, Texas plant makes the Toyota Tundra and Toyota Sequoia. Then the Mississippi plant makes the Corolla, and the Alabama plant makes the Corolla Cross and is a partnership with Mazda, which makes the CX-50 there. Honda has a handful of plants. The Marysville plant in Marysville, Ohio makes the Honda Accord, Integra, and Acura TLX. The East Liberty Auto plant in East Liberty, Ohio makes the CRV, Acura RDX, and Acura MDX. Then the Alabama plant in Lincoln, Alabama makes the Honda Odyssey minivan, the Passport, Pilot, and the Ridgeline truck. Then the Indiana plant in Greensburg, Indiana makes the Civic and the CRV. Nissan has 2 major plants in the U.S., one of them the largest automotive manufacturing plant in North America. That would be in Smyrna, Tennessee. That plant makes a bunch of their product: Leaf, Rogue, Pathfinder, Murano, and the Infiniti QX60. In Canton, Mississippi, Nissan makes the Nissan Altima and the Frontier. Now that plant used to also make the Titan pickup truck, but that's been discontinued. Mazda has the aforementioned Alabama plant where the CX-50 is made. Everything else Mazda makes is imported, as far as I know anyway. Subaru has their Lafayette, Indiana plant that makes the Outback, Forester, Crosstrek, and Ascent. Hyundai has the Alabama plant in Montgomery, which makes the Tucson, Santa Fe, Santa Cruz, and the Genesis GV70, both the combustion engine and electric version of that. Then in Ellabelle, Georgia, they make the Ioniq 5 and Ioniq 9. The Georgia plant specializes in electric vehicles. Kia Motors has West Point, Georgia. They have a plant where they make the K5, Sportage, Sorento, Telluride, and the new EV9. Everything else that Kia makes, as far as I know, is imported. Mostly from Mexico, if I remember right. Volkswagen, Chattanooga, Tennessee, that is their most well-known one. That makes the Atlas, Atlas Cross Sport, and the ID4. And then pretty much everything else is imported, but the new Scout, so the Scout Traveler and Scout Terra from Scout Motors, which is owned by Volkswagen. That's in Blythewood, South Carolina. Volvo has a plant in Ridgeville, South Carolina, where the EX90 is made. BMW has a Greer, South Carolina plant. That makes the BMW X3, X4, X5, X6, and X7. Mercedes has the Vance, Alabama plant where they make the GLE, GLS, and EQS SUV. And then the Ladson, South Carolina plant where they make the Sprinter van. I think that's all of them. There's some smaller companies, so like VinFast, but they don't really have a production yet. And what else did I find on this list? I think that's all of them. Lucid Motors doesn't. I mean, I guess they produce a product. That's at that's in Arizona, Casa Grande, Arizona. The Lucid Air and Gravity. I don't know how long that company is going to last though, so kind of hard. All of these companies are also making, for the most part, making something in Mexico and probably in Canada, or doing at least having parts assemblies there. So that's kind of the rundown. It's a pretty long list, but that's the rundown of where vehicles in the U.S. are being made. So there you go. If you got a question you want me to answer it, that's the way I said it. If you want an answer to a question you've got, hit me up. Comment down below, find me on like Facebook and Twitter and whatnot. Make sure you DM or tag me when you do that, or find me on Cowboy State Daily, Aaron on Autos, newatlas.com, so on, and just hit me up and I'll do my best to answer it. All right, this has been Aaron. Talk to you again soon.